What if I told you that there is a distinction between an all-pro selection and an all-star selection? This, of course, is in regards to professional sports, and there's a huge difference between those two designations. I want to specifically highlight two athletes in this regard. One from the WNBA and the other one from the NFL. The WNBA player in this case is Angel Reese, the now Atlanta Dream player who is best known for me-bounds, which is a new word in the dictionary apparently, when a player gets a rebound off their own miss, which she does a lot because her layup percentage is 20 some odd percent. I could do better in the WNBA than that, and I am a survivor of a traumatic brain disorder with cognitive challenges, particularly spinning around a basket. Angel Reese is a two-time WNBA All-Star. However, she has never been given an All-WNBA designation or award. Let me tell you the difference. All-Star selections are for an All-Star game. They are for the purposes of an All-Star game and determine who participates in those. Angel Reese has been selected for this twice. But All-Star selections in any sport for an All-Star game are generally determined by a combination of fan balloting, player balloting, and media balloting. So, fans of her former team, the Chicago Sky, could have stuffed the ballot. In Major League Baseball, the All-Star Game is almost entirely determined by fan balloting historically, although recently I believe player balloting is also part of the equation. So there have been some very famous cases in Major League Baseball history where players have made it to the All-Star Game who are clearly not worthy of it. Oakland A's catcher Terry Steinbach is a famous example. He was hitting barely above 200 and he made the All-Star Game for Oakland because the A's fans stuffed the ballot in his favor. I've never heard of a Major League Baseball All-Pro award. Fill me in the comments below if that's wrong. But I've never heard of one. But Angel Reese has never been a all WNBA selection. Now, the reason why this is important in her case particularly is that the WNBA these days has what is called an escalator clause in contracts that moves you to a higher tier and significantly higher financial rewards if you have been designated all WNBA, which has gotten her into a temper tantrum over this because she has never been given an all WNBA selection or been part of an all WNBA team or named to one. Now, to my NFL example. We're going to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Shedeur Sanders of the Cleveland Browns. Drafted in the 5th round, of course, and everybody knows the story by now. He fell in the 5th round despite thinking that he was going to go top 5. Shedeur Sanders last year made it to the Pro Bowl. However, in the NFL, playing in the Pro Bowl competitions, what used to be an actual football game, but is now something like a Battle of the Stars type of arrangement, where they play in some sort of skills competition. Most players don't even want to do that anymore. They get invited or selected or elected by fan ballot, again by fan ballots and a combination of player ballots. They will get selected. The thing in Shedeur's case, though, is that he wasn't even selected. He became a Pro Bowler because enough people dropped out. And they simply just refused to participate. including my favorite quarterback these days, the Denver Broncos' Bo Nix. Also refused. I know Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers was selected. He refused. So if enough people refuse, then they have to start picking alternates. And Shedeur finally came in as like the third alternate, and finally wound up participating. However, he gets to call himself a Pro Bowler for the rest of his life because of this farce. And he, in addition, didn't even come close to making an All-Pro or an All-Pro team. The NFL does call them All-Pro teams. And in the NFL, there's a first-team All-Pro, a second-team All-Pro, and a third-team All-Pro. Being designated to any of these things can trigger contract bonuses. So Shedeur probably got a little bit of a bonus for being named to the Pro Bowl, albeit in a backdoor way. But he never would have received anything for being an All-Pro because his statistics were nowhere near being warranted to being nominated as an All-Pro. Now, did he win a couple games? Yes. Which is completely different from Angel Reese, whose teams consistently lost because of her ball-hogging presence and her stat-stuffing antics, which got her elected to the All-Star game, but would never passed muster to be elected to the All-WNBA or their equivalent of an All-Pro team. So, being named as an All-Pro is far, far more important than being named to any sort of an All-Star game. Far more important. The contract bonuses, I believe, in those situations are much more lucrative for being named an All-Pro. And it's also tougher to be named an All-Pro because you have to pass muster of experts who have votes in the ballot. Fan balloting doesn't matter a lick when it comes to an All-Pro selection. A fan base, social media presence, in the case of Angel Reese, does nothing for you there. You have insiders, maybe some press figures in the sports press, but people who are supposed to know what a high honor like that deserves or should require. But anyway, if anybody knows any other information on this subject, please drop it in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm back to taping live on a daily basis, so it is Thursday as I'm posting this. It is Friday Junior. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out, homies.